Hi, Teresa. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you so much for inviting me here, Dr. Dharna. I'm so excited for you and I to be able to talk about our different approaches and practices and how we help people feel better.
Absolutely, and I'm also excited for this conversation, how it will turn out to be, and I'm sure it's going to be great for our audience to know because, coming from the background of Ayurveda, nutrition, and yoga together, I have seen that wellness is not one way. It is not just a symptoms that we take care of. It's more beyond that, and that is what we are going to uncover here today. And I'm so glad that you could take time out and be here today.
Yes, thank you. And as a former registered nurse in the United States, coming from the Western medical model, and now I'm into a certified consulting hypnotist role here in Singapore, approaching the mind, body, spirit approach to wellness and really working with the subconscious mind is where I am now, to help people uncover the root cause of their emotions, their patterns, their behaviors, so that they can feel better.
Oh, that's great. And that's very interesting because Ayurveda aligns a lot with it, which is Indian traditional system of medicines. And working in this field across different setups like into clinical Ayurveda setups, integrative medicine setups, even catering to patients who are in ICU, OPD, integrating it with the modern medicine, and working in multiple health food industries where wellness plays a very important part. Over the years, I have figured out that wellness is not just going to a therapy or a massage therapies and all. It's beyond that. It is preventive healthcare step is something which we all are missing, and I think preventive healthcare system plays a very, very important role nowadays. Before the disease sets in, how you are going to make sure that you don't end up there and prevent it. And my mental health plays a very important role. A lot of health conditions arise just because of the mental health. And I think, coming from the background of nurse and being a hypnotherapist, I'm sure that also plays a very important role in, helping with the mental health of people and digging into their mental health.
Yes, absolutely. And the Western medical model is brilliant and it does so many things, but it's also very young and it's still learning new things all the time. And back when I was a neurosurgery nurse, we would see the same types of presentation with the same types of symptoms, the same type of imaging, and those patients would get the same type of surgery, exactly the same kind of surgery from the same surgeon, and we would see drastically different outcomes. And I started to see that it wasn't unpredictable. It had to do with their coping skills. It had to do with their subconscious beliefs about their body, about healing, about what they are capable of and what their future holds. And it's not something that we can put our finger on or prescribe to help these people get through, but at the same time, the subconscious is open to change and it's not set in stone. We can improve our beliefs about ourselves. We can improve our emotional stability. We can improve our nervous system regulation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Different techniques and therapies are out there as complementary care to all these other modalities.
Absolutely, I completely agree with this because when I get clients from different, backgrounds, and most of them have similar complaints. Even if they are from corporate, they are, from they are housewives. Most of them will be having similar health issues. And I have been seeing in my practice past 15 years, the health issues have changed from physical to mental a lot. And you might have come across a lot of people coming up with emotional eating, people with stress, people with burnout, people with sleep disorder. And being an Ayurvedic professional, we have 3 basic pillars that we take care of, which is in Ayurveda we call as Ahara, Nidra and Brahmacharya, which means food, sleep and discipline or celibacy. So these 3 things are very important in Ayurveda, and sleep has been something neglected over the time, over the years a lot. And I think it is very important to have that perspective that how a sleep triggers a lot of health issues. Your cortisol levels are triggered by sleep. Your happy hormones are getting impacted by sleep. How important it plays, and I'm sure hypnotherapy, as in yoga, has lot to balance out there.
Yes, yes. So sleep is life, I tell my clients, and it's a form of torture for sleep deprivation as a reason. Like, sleep deprivation is so damaging to your mind and to your body, and sleep should always be a priority. A lot of my clients trouble with falling asleep at night due to like rumination, the chatty brain, right? The intrusive thoughts, the ruminating and continuing to think about the same things. And so hypnotherapy, and specifically self-hypnosis, can help with sleep so much, because we need to think about the brain waves. So in the awake state that we're in all right now, we're in the beta brain waves. They're fast and they're busy, and that is our conscious mind, and it is very active, and it's very critical and analytical, and it's a problem solver, and it's always on and active, right? When we go into a hypnotic brainwave state where we slow everything down, we enter the slower brainwave states of alpha, which is like art, flow, relaxation. And then we enter even to theta, which is slower, and that's where we get deep meditation or visualization. And then that's how we can get all the way to the down, slow sleep waves of delta, and that's what we need for deep sleep. So the beautiful thing is, if you practice self-hypnosis, going into the trance state at bedtime, you're already slowing your brain waves down. You're turning off that busy, chatty brain wave of beta, and you can get into deeper delta waves so much easier. So we find that when we teach people self-hypnosis, they can fall asleep much faster. One client even called it knockout pills.
Absolutely. That is so beautifully put across. And I also align with this, because most of my clients who have sleep deprivation and all, it doesn't start. What I tell them is, it's not the 30 minutes earlier what decides how your sleep is going to be. Of course, that will help you to a certain level, but how you wake up in the morning also decides how you're going to end up your day.
Sure.
So they wake up, the first thing is seeing the phone. Already the nervous system is in action. You don't unwind, you don't rewind, you're not able to go to the next stage of your day in a very amicable way. So that also decides how your alpha waves are going to be throughout the day.
Sure.
And once there are constant triggers since the beginning of the day, the moment you wake up, you're giving that triggers constantly throughout the day, and then you go to work, and then you come, and then you think after 30 minutes, if you do that will help you. But you will see a lot of people, they will go to deep sleep earlier, and then 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, they will wake up.
They wake up.
Because according to Ayurveda, if you don't sleep restfully between 10 to 2, it's not only restful. If you don't sleep also, some people, they scroll over the phone and they are, awake.
Yes, trying to get things done when the children are asleep. Yep.
Absolutely. And what that does is, in Ayurveda we call it aggravates your pitta and your vata. What that means is, pitta is basically the metabolic energy, and vata is basically the activation of the sympathetic nervous system.
Sure.
And those are very active at that point of time if you don't sleep, because they are in a detox mode, but you are not letting them. They are getting overworked, not getting paid, but overworked. And that is how your day is gonna slow down next day. The energy levels are down, the intellect takes a back seat slightly, the activity of the mind is not very sharp, the grasping capacity declines, the decision-making capacity goes down. So I think also people need to be mindful of that, how they start their day. If they don't start their day with the mindful habits, with the practice, that will be sustainable. So we can do quick fixes, but sustainability is very important in the long run, and that is where preventive health plays a very important part. And also with this sleep cycle going up and down, you see people having burnout very easily.
Yes.
Especially high stressful jobs, when they have to work under high pressure, their brain is on constant trigger. Even if they sleep, what you said, the running brain is there, right? That was the term you used?
Yes, the chatty
brain.
active brain.
Exactly.
Yes.
That is what happens, because there is no hold on, there is only fight and flight mode. That is, your sympathetic nervous system is always in that jitter.
Yes.
So brain loses the capacity to relax, loses the intelligence how to relax myself. That is where mind's activity reflects on your body later on.
Yes.
So how do you see, in your practice, when people come to you with the burnout and, such kind of issues?
Yes. So when we talk about hypnosis and hypnotherapy for helping things like burnout. We're not saying that hypnosis, cures anything, but what it does is it allows us to release the internal intention, the internal stresses inside of the body, because our bodies, our physical bodies hold this energy of suppressed emotion or stress or negative things that happened to us in our past. For example, we have to release those things from our bodies, and they're physical things, they're physical energy. And so we talk about it like if your body systems, your integumentary system, your gastrointestinal system, if all of your body systems, your nervous system were on a chain, and each link was a different body system, a metal chain, imagine pulling on that metal chain. Eventually, the weakest link will break, correct?
Absolutely.
So depending on your DNA, some people, if they're under a lot of stress, their hair might fall out. Some people under a lot of stress might get gastrointestinal upset. Some people might get rashes. So everyone's different on what their weakest link might be. But the goal with hypnotherapy is to imagine that there's two different kinds of stressors pulling on each end of the chain. On this end over here, we have the external world, our job, our children, our relationships, our finances, politics, the world news, all of those things external to our body are pulling on us every day over here. And over here is our internal stress. This is our emotions, this is our beliefs, this is our anger and our anxiety and our worries and our past traumas. All of this stuff inside of us is also pulling on us all the time. And a lot of people, I find, try to help reduce their stress by working on the external world. Oh, if only my child would listen to me.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
if only my boss would stop
Absolutely.
nagging me. But can we control the external world? We really cannot. It is so hard. So instead, what we need to do is put some slack on the chain over here. If we empty our cup, we call it in hypnosis, if we empty our cup of the negative things that we have stored inside us that we haven't fully processed, release those pent-up emotions, release those negative self-beliefs, release the negative talk, process the childhood trauma. If we can do that, we will put slack on the chain here, and then as hard as the world pulls on us over here, we're going to be resilient. Our chain will not break. So that is the goal of hypnosis and hypnotherapy.
Absolutely, absolutely. I completely agree with you on this because similar, like you said, I will pick up on that. Like when they have hair fall, dry skin, dry eyes, sometimes the vision is blurred very frequently. These all are symptoms of burnout.
Yes.
And when they come to me, okay, I have hair fall, I want a quick fix. It's not like you give them a glue and stick it. It
Yes.
doesn't work like
A Band-Aid.
that. Exactly. You cannot do a Band-Aid
Yeah.
thing for that. And I think it is way deeper than that, because once you are in constant stress, your gut gets impacted. And gut plays a very important role, not only in the absorption of the nutrients that you're consuming, but at the same time it impacts your vagus nerve, which is connected to the brain, and that impacts your mind as well. So it is vice versa. I think the connection is both ways. If you feed yourself junk all the time, you're young, you want to enjoy, you want to have everything, good things which we perceive as good things in life, and then when we see the repercussions after a certain time, we don't actually relate to what has happened behind,
Yes.
back many years ago.
Yes.
It is actually what we have lived is what we are getting right now, right?
Yes.
And when the stress and burnout is constant, especially when we don't know how to unwind ourselves, plays a very important role. And one of my clients, she also had the similar condition of hair fall and all, but what she was doing is, because of back-to-back meetings, like how corporate life is,
Intense.
it was very difficult, and she ended up skipping her lunch almost every day until 4 p.m., something like that. And then she used to end up having a lot of junk, whatever is a quick to fill up the stomach. And that has been her cycle past many years. And when in the consultation I figured out, like, she is constantly, and when her appetite is strongest, when her digestion can be very good, when the absorption capacity is high, she's ending up having something which is not healthy.
Yes.
And that over the period of time has impacted the gut metabolism.
Sure.
leading to bloating, heaviness, dryness, hair fall at the age of 35.
Yes.
Yes, we can understand maybe after 60s and all there's a hair fall. It could be mostly because of there's a lot of catabolic activities having, calcium levels are getting depleted, body tissues are getting depleted. We can manage that in a different way altogether, but it is occurring way before it should be. And sometimes it is beyond repair as well, because it also depends from person genetics, whether they are vata, pitta or kapha, whether they're air body type, which is their nervous system is very active, they're fire body type, that means their digestion, their metabolism is active, or they are a water body type, that means they are mostly, they have a, they can have more of fats, body tissues and all, which gives structure to the body. Depending on what body type you have, what kind of resilience you have, that is how we can manage the condition. And that is where I think burnout is something, nowadays people are, again as I said, it's fight to flight response is so much.
Yes.
The nervous system is drying up. And on top of that, then we take caffeine.
No, you sure? Yep, to stimulate it more.
Drying it further,
Yes.
Overstimulating it. It's like it's a 200 voltage transformer and you're giving it 500 voltage. How is it? It will just burst.
Yes.
Caffeine and stimulants does the same thing, which I always tell to my clients, you have it in a different manner, have it required quantity, have it this much. But, in the world we are in, I think when you are in burnout, in that kind of a mode, you really need an external aid and help which can reflect on what and where you are leading to right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
When you look at Ayurveda and the different doshas, is it your dosha set for your entire lifetime? And if it is, how do people know what body type they have and how they should be working with it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I come across this almost every time. But dosha is your DNA. You're born with it. But what happens over the period of time, your DNA starts reacting in different manner. Because of the environment, because of your food habits, because of your lifestyle, there can be n number of external factors deciding it. And when they are mimicking in a different way, they're acting in a out of their character way, that is we call as imbalance.
Okay.
So that is where when we do a detailed questionnaire about their lifestyle, their diet, their habits, how they have been earlier, how they are now, how they can work out on this to have a preventive health care. So this gives us an idea of what their DNA is. And then what is the imbalance also we do with the pulse reading.
Okay.
When we see the pulse, over the period of 15 years, you practice and you get to understand, we can see which organ is underworking, which organ is worked up, and if there's a liver condition, what you have to do, what kind of diet. So each and every person is like a thumbprint. So every one is unique. There are permutation and combinations of the DNA, your body type, your prakriti in the body. Even your gut type is completely different. So based on each body type, you give the diet. For example, people who are, plump by birth, their body type is such, they are a kapha body type people, but they go into so much extreme diet just to fit into that kind of, norm.
Cultural society expectations of a body type.
Also I have seen people get triggered into stress. And they don't understand why is it happening. They will lose weight and all, but not in a healthy way, because that is not your body type.
Sure.
That is going to trigger a lot of diseases. They're going to trigger a lot of health issues, which the repercussions are sometimes irreversible.
Yes. Weight loss and weight management is something that a lot of people seek hypnotherapy for. And it can be helpful, because sometimes we do find that there might be emotional component to it. For example, the emotional eating that we just spoke about, but it also could be physically, you might have suppressed emotions that are actually blocked in your body system, and it's causing you to hold on to the weight. There could also be what we call external or internal conflict with different parts of yourself that maybe is holding back from losing weight for some certain reason. So there can be a subconscious component to some of this weight management as well. So it is something that we can dig into.
Absolutely. I think hypnotherapy in that way, I think emotional eating, that's why we call emotional eating.
Yes.
Because mind has to play a lot in that.
Yes.
And if we target the mind in a right way, just switch that,
Yep.
turn that switch.
Yes.
I think that makes a lot of difference. There are a lot of mental techniques, but I think hypnotherapy also goes way deeper into managing that switch.
What we do is we find the root cause. So for a lot of emotional eating, it's a loop of a habit, of a distraction technique from an undesired emotion. And people need to, first step is when you're about to grab for the chocolate, ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? Am I lonely? Am I sad? Am I bored? Am I angry? And a lot of times people will find that the emotional eating is actually triggered by an emotion that they don't want to work on, they don't want to face, they don't want to process, and it's not your fault, it's subconscious. It's a subconscious avoidance because your subconscious is always trying to protect you. But what we need to do is we need to name that feeling, and then we need to uncover the meaning behind it. So in The Secret Language of Feelings, Calvin Banyan, who is a hypnotherapist in the United States, writes about how all feelings are good. All emotions are good, even anger, even sadness, even boredom. Why? Because it is your subconscious mind, your body communicating with you that you have an unmet need, want, or desire in your life that you are not addressing. So if you are bored, what does that mean? It actually means that your body is craving growth and challenge. You cannot eat enough chocolate in the world to make your body grow and challenge and learn something new. You can eat all the chocolate in the world and you won't learn anything new, right?
Absolutely.
So we need to find out what we're actually being asked to do. And then we need to take an aligned action towards satisfying that unmet need, want, or desire. So for example, if you are feeling sad, that is your body calling you to action that you have lost something or someone that is valuable to you. So you need to take an aligned action to get it back. If you're angry, that is a point to that you feel subconsciously, you feel that there is some injustice in your life or in the world. Something is unfair. So you need to take an aligned action to create fairness in that situation. You need to identify. So maybe that is donating money to a cause. Maybe that is writing a letter to a leader. Whatever it is, taking a one small step towards satisfying that need, want, or desire that's missing in your life can do a world of good for settling that emotion down, because you're sending a signal to your body that I hear you. I recognize the emotion, I hear this emotion, and I'm going to address it. I'm not going to keep distracting myself from it.
Absolutely. This is such a good point, that how you address and each emotion is good is a very good point, because I can relate it to a concept in Ayurveda where we have two concepts. It's called as Dharaniya Vega and Adharaniya Vega. That means things that you should hold and things you should let go in the body and in the emotions. So Adharaniya Vegas, for example, physically is like, you should never hold your urine, you should, never hold a yawn or a sneeze.
Yes.
And these are Adharaniya Vegas. Please let it go. Don't hold it. And sometimes we hold these things, right?
Yes.
Because of any reason, but this is not a good habit. Then there is Adharaniya Vega, which you should, Dharaniya Vega that you should hold. That comes a lot of emotional things. That means hold in the sense doesn't mean you just suppress it. Suppressing is not holding. Holding is how you're going to channelize it.
Process it.
Process it.
Fully experience it.
Exactly.
The only way out is through.
In that, one of the greatest one is anger. So there is emotions, how you can channelize and direct it.
Yes.
We don't say anger is adharaniya, don't hold it, just outburst it. We can't do that.
No.
You have to channelize it. How you channelize it? For example, for emotional eating, what I usually suggest, it can be at random time of the day that people feel that they need to binge on something. Sometimes it's a habit. Sometimes they get into that loop.
Yep.
What I tell them is, take a pause. Like you said, you analyze the emotion at that point of time. I tell them to take a pause, drink a glass of warm water.
Absolutely.
And wait for 10-20 minutes. Let your nervous system relax. And when the nervous system relaxes, it gradually becomes a habit. Let me tell you, mind is a best student but a bad master.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
So,
because the subconscious is so hard to control because we cannot access it on our own.
Exactly. But when you treat it like a student, what happens, when you, why we say discipline in Ayurveda is important. Discipline doesn't mean you just to get up. Discipline is somewhat, people get scared of this term. But discipline just means that a routine to your smaller tasks in the day.
Sure.
For example, when you're trying to sip warm water when you have cravings, your mind will want to do that again and again, and it will direct you to do that.
Yes.
And when you get into that good loop, you will gradually unwind the wire of getting into the loop of emotional eating.
It's so interesting that you speak of water before the sweets or before the habit food.
Yes.
Because that is something we do in hypnosis as well. So for emotional heating, for example, we give something in the hypnotic state called direct suggestions. And what direct suggestions are is a statement that is a suggestion to the subconscious mind to be accepted as a new truth or a new habit or a new belief, because in the slower brainwave state of the trance state, we can bypass what's called the critical factor or the critical faculty, which is kind of the gatekeeper to the subconscious mind. And so we can actually bypass that and then allow it to accept suggestions, not demands, not commands, suggestions that are in the benefit of the person in alignment with their goals. So if it's something that you don't want, you can reject it still in the subconscious mind, in the trance state. But if it's something you want, we can say to somebody who has emotional eating, I choose water over sweets.
Absolutely.
And as I drink a full glass, I feel full, calm, and comfortable. And if I say that to somebody in the state of hypnosis, I choose water over sweets. And as I drink a full glass, I feel full, calm, and comfortable. Their body accepts it as the new habit, as the new truth.
Yes.
And then they will be able to do that throughout their day,
Absolutely.
their life.
Absolutely.
Yes, so
And
that is one of our direct suggestions.
Exactly. Water plays a very important role. It holds on to a lot of memory. At the same time, we know we are 70% water. Our nervous system calms down by drinking water.
Sure, absolutely, yes.
The thirst, it's not the thirst of your, just sensory organ of tongue, but it is the thirst of your nervous system and all. It just adds on a grounding element to the body. What is a grounding element? So when you drink water, absolutely you have to direct it with the emotions that you had said. You give an emotion while you're drinking it, so that you can,
It helps
process
you
it.
feel.
Yes. Process it, your next steps every day, how you're going to do it. And that is definitely a wonderful thing to do, if we are working on emotional eating. We also see in Ayurveda, there are a lot of breath works, because Ayurveda and yoga are sister sciences. So they both work parallelly.
Yes.
So my main intention when I'm seeing a person who comes with such kind of complaints of emotional eating, stress eating, obesity, breathwork works a lot. Because when we are into day-to-day work, we are not actually consciously breathing. We forget how we are actually breathing. Yeah. Sometimes we're holding on to breath. Sometimes we are over breathing. The breath is not rhythmic, and breath aligns with your brain waves.
Sure. Yes. It's all connected to the nervous system.
Absolutely. And I usually suggest them do a sigh relief, like
that's what we teach as well. That's excellent. Yes.
deep
And let it
exhalation.
out. We call it the physiological sigh. Do you call it that in Ayurveda as well? Yes. So we say to imagine it is the marker that you are ending something. You are done with something. So the physiological sigh, we say take 2 quick breaths in and then push it out. And as you push it out, take your hand and actually imagine pushing that emotion or that negative energy or that negative thought out in a way and mark it as I am done with this.
Exactly.
So the physiological sigh, I love that one. I'm done.
You exhale a lot of carbon dioxide
Yes.
when you do the deep exhalation. So there is not much of the toxin buildup.
Sure.
Because what happens when we hold on to a lot of things, even the breath, it turns out into toxins.
Sure.
It converts into toxins. And that is when there is more toxin buildup, inflammation sets in. Inflammation actually is not only physical. Nowadays, there's a lot of physical inflammation, get rid of inflammation. But inflammation works in the deeper cells of your body. It actually, if we say, it is like a pond, a river where the water has become stagnant. And it is accumulating a lot of junk and dirt of the city and everything. How it clogs. It's a clog.
Yes.
So that impacts your thinking, emotional as well as physical. Physically, you will feel lazy, lethargic, sleepy. You don't want to do work. You are not enthusiastic. You know, there are a lot of such symptoms. It comes when there is emotional block, leads to inflammation, and then the physical block sets in, and which is very difficult. I have had very difficult time with certain clients who want to do a lot, but they don't want to do anything physical. You give us something and we want to, get rid of the condition. And it's the toughest thing to do.
Yes.
Because we can't see body just give some supplement and then it will be fine.
Yeah.
It has to be holistic approach. You have to move, you have to walk, you have to do your thing. Because if you don't move, even your intestines are going to get stuck. At the same time, they will not have the memory of peristalsis. Sure. Because intestines moves all the time to cleanse it or to pump the nutrients to the other organs of the body. But if you're not doing that, it's just stuck.
Yes.
You're holding on to a lot of things.
Yes.
So movement is very important. It plays a very important role where the breath work works. If you're doing breathing on the regular physiological side is one of the things. Then there is one more, it's called as Brahmari.
Yes.
It's called as honeybee sound.
Ah, yes, I've heard the honeybee.
It is like a massage to your neurons.
Humming.
Yes,
it's
humming.
like a hum.
Yes. And it actually massages your neurons. We do external massage, but you should try doing it before going to bed.
Should we try now?
Yes.
Yes, let's do it.
Before going to bed, if you find it difficult to sleep, it is very calming. And it will give you a deeper sleep. So what you do is, I will just remove my glasses. These two fingers, you just keep on the eyes. This one on top of the eyebrow. This just slightly. No need to press. And this near the nose lobe here. And the thumb, you just close the ear lobes here. Okay. Okay? Completely. So you are actually shutting down your senses of vision and hearing. So you are not disturbed. And when you do that, you do a deep inhalation first, slowly and gradually. Most of the people do. No, it has to be feather light. You should not hear your inhalation. Okay, so it should be gentle. And while you exhale, you make the sound of like honeybee. Okay. Deeper the exhalation, better the relaxation. And when you do the exhalation, the tongue should touch the top behind the teeth.
Okay.
Okay.
I could feel the vibration in my teeth even, which is a lovely feeling.
Yes. And this actually helps calm down and unwind you and bring you to that sleep mode. So this is something I advise many of my clients to do on the regular basis because it's something. It doesn't take much time. 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Just do it before going to bed.
The honeybee.
Yes.
That's a great technique. I love that one. And it makes me think too about that vibrational energy when you feel that vibration, about how we talked about how our body is mostly water.
Yes.
And so we talked too about vibration in hypnosis and resonance in hypnosis because even our thoughts are energy, right? It's neurons firing electricity and chemical reactions, right? So it's energy and it's real and it has a vibration to it.
Absolutely.
And so what we find is sometimes when people feel like they have an overreaction, like they boil over, like something small happens in their life and they have this huge outburst. And then they go, where did this come from? Why did I explode? It's because of vibration, because of resonance. Something in your current situation, your present moment, vibrated or resonated with something in your past that you haven't processed. So it's a similar situation, a similar scenario, a similar childhood trauma or trigger, and it brought that up. And if your emotions, like imagine them in a pot of boiling water, and you have fuel sources from your past and your present and your future. So if you're worried a lot about your future, that also is turned up too high, and you can also boil over very easily. But in your past, if it's turned up too high, that means there's something you haven't fully processed.
Absolutely.
And then something little happens in your present moment and your pot boils over of your emotions. Your emotional cauldron bubbles over. So we want to keep everything on a low simmer. And we can do that through hypnotherapy by reducing that past, turning down the nozzle of the emotional charge of the past experiences, not erasing any memories. No, just shifting perspective, understanding what happened, gaining insight to what happened to us in our past can allow us to release that emotional stuck emotional trigger inside, and so then it doesn't boil us over in the future or in the present moment.
Absolutely. That's
it's about resonance.
Yes, that's so beautifully said, because they say it is similar to preventive healthcare, right? So till don't reach to a point when it just outbursts. So you can just
do it now.
do it now. So you can just align your thoughts, align your emotions, structure it in a way that it doesn't actually create any troubles in future.
Yes.
You know, it's a beautiful perspective for preventive mental wellness as well.
Yes.
Right? So if people are coming with such an stuck emotion, sometimes people also don't realize.
Oh yes, it's
that
very
they have.
subconscious or even unconscious, these stuck emotions. You don't know that this is the problem, but you feel like there's something wrong inside of you and you can't reach it and you can't fix it, and you don't know why you're struggling silently with this thing that's in you. It's usually something from your past.
Yes, that is where they need breather, because there's so many information overload every single time. They are not able to process what actually they know, but because there is so many things covering it, it's like hoarding of thoughts and emotions, so they don't actually know what is triggering what. Because everything is piled upon.
Yes.
Piled on.
We talk about it like an onion. So we have to slowly peel the layers, and we have a lot of layers, and so it takes some time to get at the core root cause of our troubles. We have to slowly peel back what is going on and the emotional coverings that we've built. Because remember, think of the subconscious, it's like a blank slate when you're born. And the subconscious, again, it holds your personality, it holds your memories, it holds your beliefs, it holds all of your emotions, it holds your imagination. And so it's slowly building over our childhood. Every single event and experience that you ever have as a child, it slowly builds up to who you are now. But if those beliefs about you as a child were built on misperceptions of the child, because as children sometimes we don't understand what's happening, right? The adults maybe don't give us the full story, or we see something we don't understand and then we process it in a fearful way. We need to go back and we need to relook at that in the hypnotic state and shift the perspective with hindsight, and inform the child that we once were of the good things that we know now as an adult about that situation, and that alone can help release that emotional trigger and that emotional charge to the event.
That is very rightly said, is the root cause.
The root cause, it's all about the root cause.
It's all about the root cause, and Ayurveda only works on the root cause.
Yes.
Like in hypnotherapy, that is like onion peel. You have to go, you have to scrape the top layer and then go to the bottom of it. Because most of the clients, Ayurveda has, I would say, evolved over the years in a way that post-COVID, I saw a lot of people coming to preventive healthcare. And most of the clients I get is eczema, psoriasis, and which is chronic since their childhood.
Immune system inflammation disorders.
Exactly. And for that, when you have to undo it, especially when it's a years of condition, going to the root cause takes its own sweet journey to manage. Because the moment because those people are into so much of anxiety and stress because of what has transpired externally, it's not easy. How their confidence gets takes a backseat because they cannot go out in public. They have to cover themselves. They have to it's a lot of emotional I would say setback comes with this physical condition. And dealing with such kind of people, such kind of condition is not easy for us also and for them as well to go through that journey of waiting for 2 to 3 months to get the results. But that is the only way out. You can have a lot of, as I said, band-aids, but it is temporary. It is very, very temporary. And then if you are not taking care of your food, your gut, your lifestyle, it will not work. Because a lot of people ask me, okay, I have this very bad condition since my childhood. How can you help me? Can I have alcohol? Alcohol is something very sensitive topic in a way, because people in corporate world, sometimes they can't get away.
It's a culture.
It is
oh,
culture.
yes. They expect you to go out and drink with the team,
Yes.
especially if there's travel involved. Yes.
And when I have clients who work in such a professional environment, it is very difficult to, tell them no, but I have to put a tap on somewhere. The dose, the ways they have to have, because alcohol is one of the most triggering inflammatory drink.
Okay.
It dehydrates you to the core.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We've all experienced the dehydration hangover.
In
yes,
Ayurveda, there are certain foods which straight away goes to your nervous system, in spite of going to, it doesn't digest. It straight away triggers the nerves. That's why you get high and all very easily. One is alcohol. The another thing you will be very surprised to know what it is. Can you guess? It's a very common food used in almost every culture.
Salt?
No.
No, I don't know.
Yogurt.
Yogurt. Oh, no, I wasn't going to say
yes.
yogurt.
So yogurt is, it has its own good things, like it has probiotics, but the only thing is we only think of the
gut.
how it works on gut.
Yeah.
But we don't understand, it doesn't go under complete digestion, and it has a tendency to block the channels of nutrients. Your lymphatic system, your circulatory system, especially people who have a tendency of accumulating toxins. There are people who have tendency also, right? They will have inflammation, water retention, puffiness, small, indications are there. They easily get rashes, all of that. So this is one of another thing in Ayurveda we don't advise to take.
So unless for a person with eczema, you would say, please avoid yogurt.
Yes.
You would?
Yes,
oh, I didn't. This is new tips.
Yes,
everyone.
yeah. But there are different ways of processing yogurt also. So there's buttermilk. We take out the heavy fats from the yogurt and then have it. So that's a different way of taking it. There are certain spices you add in the yogurt and blend it with certain amount of water and then drink it. Then it's easier to digest. It's good for gut.
Okay.
But if you take it as a yogurt with all its fat elements and other elements, then it is not.
Is it because of the dairy or the lactose?
No.
No, it's
it is not. It has been, Ayurveda is 5,000 years old science. So that time there was no lactose intolerance, because cows and the milk was not processed in a way it is processed now. The stress environment and the pollutants were not as such as it were there. So the resilience and the immunity was quite strong. It would be like 1 in millions might be having that, but there was no indication of people having any sensitivity towards milk. It is called as satmaya. That means it's a wholesome food that easily is accepted by human gut in Ayurveda.
Okay.
But with the time, things change. The processes have changed, how it is being made. But yogurt has been considered as a no-no for many reasons for thousands of years now.
Wow.
In Ayurveda.
I'm learning something new today. Now I want to ask you about, since we're talking about intolerances, food intolerances, which we were planning to talk about, but here we are.
This just came up.
What does Ayurveda say about gluten? Because that is such a common thing. We hear about gluten intolerances. And I know, of course, there's celiac disease, which is a separate topic, but for other gluten intolerant folks, what does Ayurveda recommend there?
Okay, so again, as I said, with the time, the resilience and immunity has changed quite a bit. Overall, human gut health has taken a toll, because we don't only eat gluten, we eat a lot of things which have compromised our immune system. But coming to gluten, yes, gluten has a protein which is not easily digested by the human gut. And the things that are not easily digested usually leads to inflammation in the body. And gluten does do that. But if we see, coming from India, if you see the demographics in India, there are different geographical states having different crop of each state. For example, in the central state of India, they are mostly wheat eating a population, but nothing, all is fine. They don't have gluten intolerance or anything. We don't see that. Then there are people in southern and the northernmost part, which I come from, we eat rice. So we don't have much gluten in the diet, because we are adapted to our region accordingly. But earlier, when there was a wheat food, it was not the wheat that is now, that is highly processed and refined. It used to be mixed with millet flour. It used to be mixed with different grain flours, and then they will eat it. They will not eat a simple
Not
plain
pure.
wheat.
Mm.
Like, I don't know about if you know about Indian food, that's like naan. Naan, right? It's a refined flour. It's a completely refined flour. Refined means no fiber.
Sure.
So when you take that, that has high concentration of gluten. That will give you more triggers. But those who are already diagnosed, of course they should not take, and gluten intolerance is something, yes, very real. If you have small element of inflammation also, it's ideal not to indulge in much of the gluten foods.
Okay.
I would not advise.
Not advised.
Not advised. Especially like skin condition, as I said, is eczema or psoriasis. Of course, I will not advise.
Okay.
Yes.
For those
Dairy
skin
and
conditions
gluten
as well. Dairy and gluten. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you also about what are some of the big misconceptions people have about Ayurveda?
Oh, yeah. I think the biggest misconception people have about Ayurveda is that it is a massage therapy.
Okay. Yes. We haven't talked about massage at all today.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So it is massage. People globally who have heard of Ayurveda have heard because they have seen the posters of therapies and massages, Shirodhara, that oil pouring, and they're very intrigued. It is a part of Ayurveda. It is not that it is not, but it is not the only part of Ayurveda. What people don't know, it's beyond that. Okay, the definition of Ayurveda actually is, Ayurveda means, Ayur means life, Veda means science, the science of life. That's why my company name is ArujAyur. Aruj means disease free and Ayur means life. So disease free life. So the core concept of Ayurveda is the way of living. Okay,
yes.
It can be through therapies when you have an issue, when you have arthritis, you have psychosomatic disorders. We do a lot of external therapies, and therapies are basically like oiling is something which is an integral part of Ayurveda, applying oil on the body, massaging with the oil. Usually we do dry massages and all, but we usually advise the oil massage, which are basically infused with certain herbs, catering to different, there are hundreds and thousands of oil preparations based on the conditions. Okay, so that is a part of it, but it's not only oil massage. It is beyond that. It is your diet, it's your lifestyle, it is your health. As I said, we manage a lot of health conditions. It can be eczema, it can be migraine, it can be obesity, PCOD, PCOS, metabolic disorders, which I try to manage just with the diet. Diabetes or cholesterol, I try to manage it with the food and the lifestyle alone, because it is reversible.
Yes.
And then you have to manage it. It's reversible, then you go back to your normal.
Your old system.
The switch has already turned, but to keep the switch closed, there are certain ways to do it. And that is what Ayurveda is about.
That's so interesting. Yes, I did not know that.
Yes.
That is good.
And Ayurveda, because it's a 5,000 years old science, people usually say it's a tradition, and it's something you do magic, you have a magic wand, you come to Ayurvedic physician and you will just get cured. And I'm sure you are also having certain mind blocks people come to you with. They are not aware about hypnotherapy.
Yes. So hypnotherapy, I always say, has the worst PR in the world because of two things, because of stage hypnotism and because of Hollywood movies and books and TV shows, how it's portrayed. So it's portrayed again as magical, mystical, dangerous mind control. So that is the most common misconception we find, is that people are afraid because of what they've seen. It's not their fault, this is what they've seen, that they're going to lose control of their self and their mind, and they will be taken over by the hypnotist. And that is simply a misunderstanding. That is not true. So stage hypnotism is very real. They're very good at what they do, but stage hypnotism is a totally different purpose and technique of hypnotherapy. So stage hypnotism, the goal is to entertain. And the people have come to that location wanting to laugh, wanting to do something funny, and they have volunteered to get on the stage. So even though they maybe would not do those things in the conscious awake beta brainwave state, they're not faking it. They're truly hypnotized, but they're subconsciously willing and allowing the things to occur, going with it, because it does not go against their core belief systems to do something silly on stage. They were a person who was willing and able to go on stage because they wanted to make someone laugh. So that's a separate thing. In hypnotherapy, we are not looking to entertain. What we are doing is we have a specific goal. Hypnotherapy always has a goal, and the goal is to make a shift in whatever that person came for. So if you want to shift a bad habit, quit smoking. If you want to shift your self-beliefs and become more confident. If you want to shift a fear so that you can get on an airplane and fly comfortably. We have a goal, and then we work on shifting that inner state so that you can achieve your goal.
Yeah. Yeah, and I completely, agree with you, because I have also seen some movies, on hypnotherapy, and because now I know about it, but people who are not aware, they will be scared, right?
Yes.
And how do you think that how they portray on Bollywood as well? Because Bollywood can target masses. Hollywood, sorry.
Yeah.
It can target masses. Whereas stage is like there's a group of people, regulated amount of people over there.
Yes.
But how do you think that is going to impact how they perceive hypnotherapy?
Yes, it makes it an uphill battle, but I think we're slowly making progress, and people are becoming more and more interested and open to the idea of hypnosis and hypnotherapy. But yeah, it is a little bit of an uphill battle because, again, people are needing to feel safe and secure with hypnosis for it to work. So in order to be hypnotized, in order to go through the process of hypnotherapy, you have to, A, want it to happen, and you want the change that you're coming for to occur. So for example, if a spouse drugged their husband or wife and said, make them lose weight, and that person does not want to lose weight, it will not work. They will be unhypnotizable, or quit smoking and they want to smoke still, they don't want to quit, it won't work. Because you have to want the change, and you have to want it to work.
Exactly.
And then you have to be willing and able to follow simple instructions. So you have to be old enough and mentally capable enough to follow simple instructions. And then you have to be free of fear of hypnosis, and you have to be free of fear of your hypnotist. So if you have all the other criteria met, but that hypnosis person is making you uncomfortable and you're not feeling safe and secure with this therapist, you're not going to go into hypnosis. You will not work. So you will be unhypnotizable again. So you have to be comfortable and feeling safe. And so the most important thing we do before hypnotherapy begins is what we call the pre-talk, which is kind of like what we're doing right now. We're simply discussing it. We're talking about the myths. We're talking about how it's safe. So hypnosis, I tell people, is a natural, normal mental state that we've all been in before. So again, remember we talked about the brain waves. Before you fall asleep at night, and every morning when you wake up, you transition through the hypnotic brainwave states of alpha and theta. So you are in a hypnotic brainwave state every single day. Or if you drive a car and you drive the same route every day and you miss your exit because your mind was wandering, and then you get to your destination, you're like, how did I get here? That's highway hypnosis. Or if you watch a movie and you get really into the story and you are finding that your heart is pounding when the character does something exciting, that is a hypnotic state. Somebody walks in the room and talks to you, but you are in that movie and you are not hearing them. That's a hypnotic state. So it's simply a state of focused attention and awareness, and it's just a slower brainwave state where your mind and your imagination are activated, and that chatty, critical, analytical, conscious mind is quieted. That's all hypnosis is. So you're always awake, you're always aware, you're always in control, you're always having thoughts. It feels a lot like meditation. It's different than meditation, but it feels similar. When people go into a hypnotic state and people go into a meditative state, it feels the same. But meditation is a conscious mind practice. Hypnosis is a subconscious mind practice.
Yes.
Meditation, the goal is to be present in the moment and accept the moment, accept what is, accept the now, focus on the breath or focus on a mantra and accept what is. Hypnosis, we have a different goal. Our goal is to change the subconscious mind, make a change, a positive change that you want. So they're different, but they feel similar. Yes, exactly.
What you said about meditation, you have to be present. You have to be conscious of. Because
it's a conscious practice.
It's a conscious practice because a person has to be conscious of understanding the changes that are happening while they are meditating. So because if they are not understanding or absorbing the changes, they won't reap the benefits of meditation, which is very important. But as you said, to reach the meditation also, it's not like you sit and you meditate. A lot of people come, I meditate and I get headaches.
Oh, absolutely.
They do get headaches, and it's not something they're just making up, because they're not aligning first themselves. They're not grounding themselves first. I always say meditation just doesn't start. You have to do 5 to 10 minutes. Bring your conscience.
Yeah. It takes practice too.
Yes.
And takes time.
And breath work is the best way to bring the conscience back. And then you align to the meditation, and then you understand what is happening.
Yes.
That is the beautiful journey of meditation. But I also understand that, when you do hypnosis, what I understand is like they are almost in the similar state of relaxation, but not conscious of that they are into that state or absorbing that state. How will you put it across?
So relaxation is not a requirement for the state of hypnosis, but it does help. But of course, you've maybe seen street hypnotists who drop somebody who's standing up, and they're not relaxed at all, but it's just what we call an instant induction. So you don't have to have relaxation, but for many people, especially for people who have burnout, like we were talking about before, from work, or who just have high stress and anxiety, the relaxation of the body can lead to relaxation of the mind. And so sometimes that's our very first step in an induction, we call it, is to help people physically relax their muscles and their bodies and feel totally limp and loose and relaxed. So then you can relax your mind and let that conscious mind step back, so the subconscious mind can come out and the gatekeeper can be bypassed. So relaxation is a great way to get into that hypnotic state.
As you said, if people come with a blocked mind, even the hypnosis will not work. But I also see even the treatments won't work.
Of course,
you do any management of a person who is not coming with an open mind will not end up having benefits, because in Ayurveda we say there are 3 qualities of mind. Every person has, like body type, there are types of mind, or state of mind. It can be state also, like Sattva, Raja and Tama. That means complete sense of purity. You're open, your channels are completely open. You receive, you absorb, you understand. Then there is Rajasic. That is intellectual mind, always with the questions. Okay,
analytical.
They can, analytical brain. They will agree to you, but they will have a lot of blockages first. You have to feel it. Then there is Tamoguni. Tamo means inertia, state of inertia. They don't want to listen. Like if you can wake up somebody who is sleeping, but you cannot wake up someone who is pretending to sleep. So it is inertia. So they don't want to move their mind, or they can't flex their mind in a way, okay, I understand that, I can receive that, I know what you're doing. So these people have these stages of mind. Some people are, have always it, but they manage it in a better way. But some people have intermittent stages of that. Like I am actually, for example, if I am a sattvic mind, but due to some reasons, due to some emotional situations and all, I can be tamasic and I can be rajasic also.
Okay, so it's something that shifts based on your situation.
Same like dosha. It can shift. You can manage it. That's why everyone can meditate. Whether it's any mind state, anyone can meditate. Anyone can do go for hypnotherapy and reap the benefits of it. But depends, first of all, what mind state you have at that point, and what you already are born with. So these two play a very important. But the beautiful thing is you can change your mind.
Yes, that's the most important, I think. Takeaway from this entire conversation is that neuroplasticity, right? Our self-directed neuroplasticity is real, and we have the ability to make changes. So if you feel like you're a person who is stuck, it doesn't mean you're going to always be stuck. There is different techniques and therapies and modalities out there for you, but you have to do something different. You can't keep doing the same thing that you're always doing.
I think, people do get comfortable with certain loop, and they're happy in that loop, but they need to get out of that comfort zone to get what where they want to be.
Absolutely.
Right? Because sometimes they are like, I'm stuck, I can't move, I can't do anything, but they don't see it as a repetitive cycle, and you need to get out of the comfort zone. It's very difficult to get out of the comfort zone for most of us. We can be comfortable in doing multiple things, but that is our comfort zone.
Yes.
They are
But that's when
comfortable
you-
doing single thing, but
But that's when you grow.
Yeah,
That's when you stretch,
exactly.
and that's when you expand and become a
Aware.
better version of you. Is when you do step out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think how hypnotherapy and Ayurveda, the manodoshas we discussed, the state of minds, and how breath work and hypnotherapy and meditation plays a very, very important role in today's world when mental health is something has taken a really, really bad shape. Due to n number of reasons, and some of the reasons are so simple that we don't even think that can be reason. For example, junk food. We indulge once in a while, but it impacts your brain slowly, gradually, especially those who are on constant triggers. Further, then information overload. Watching television, the information that's not needed.
Yes.
Especially the information that's not needed. Why you need to know of certain thing mattering to somebody else in some other world, and they're taking it to your head. Even if you're not thinking, it is in your library
It's
over there.
triggering you. Yeah.
It is there. It is there. And what you're feeding and what you're feeding here, it's very important.
Yes.
So we have to be selective in both. And that is where I think, hypnotherapy can set in. What is piled up, we can unpile it
Yes.
and clear the root.
We can clear it. Yes. We can empty the cup, we call it. We can empty the cup of the negative, because sometimes people say, oh, I try affirmations and they don't work for me. And of course, an affirmation is a positive statement you tell yourself. But if you're telling yourself a positive statement in the awake beta brain mind, just alert, awake, it's going to just get pushed back by that critical factor, because remember, there's that gatekeeper. And the gatekeeper is a filtering mechanism to what the new information is. Does it match what is a currently held belief inside of me? So if you tell yourself, I am calm and confident at all times, but you are a person who suffers with stress and anxiety and worry, your subconscious mind has a belief that you are a worrying person. You're not a confident, calm person. So if you say to yourself a positive affirmation, I am confident at all times, it's going to push it right back. It's going to go, boop, nope, critical factor activated. In hypnosis, we can bypass that critical factor, so then we can tell the subconscious mind new positive statements, direct suggestions.
Absolutely.
And then we can get the subconscious mind to accept those new beliefs about you, if that is aligning with your goals, of course.
Absolutely. And same goes with Ayurveda, coming from 5,000 years old science, which is now completely science backed, and a lot of research is going on over the period of time, seen n number of patients and clients, seeing thousands of patients past 16, 17 years now. I know where the root cause lies. And, targeting that root cause is very, very important. And it is not, if you're having, let me tell you, any symptoms which you're seeing now of any condition, it has not started today. It has been piling up years back. What you have been eating, what you have been doing, what is your lifestyle, your gut health, your metabolism, all that trigger, there are constant triggers to it because of n number of reasons. And when we are doing a detailed, consultation and talking to the clients, we get to know where the root cause lies, and hitting that root is very important to get and achieve that health goal what people are seeking today. And it's not somebody or both of us coming from just a social media or a TikTok, but with the backing of knowledge, years of experience, and credible knowledge, I would say.
Yes, and like you said, Ayurveda is very old, and it's been around, and now it's being scientifically measured and backed, and hypnosis is the same. Back
absolutely
long time ago, it was called mesmerism, and it had different names, but it's always been there. And I believe that the hypnotic state, the mental state, is nature's gift to us. It's an innate ability that we all have, that we are meant to use, because I personally believe that nature didn't intend for us to carry these childhood traumas and negative self-beliefs and negative self-talk about ourselves from when we were little through our adulthood. We're not meant to have that impact us our whole lives. So that's why the hypnotic state exists in nature, is meant to clear this stuff out. So and also it is measurable. We have brainwave studies that can show
Exactly.
in the hypnotic brainwave state different parts of your brain light up, and EEG studies show the brainwaves do change. So it's also very measurable. It's very science-backed.
Absolutely. I think that is
Yes.
why, we wanted to, have this, because we know what the backing of science and, when tradition is meeting the science. And it's a beautiful journey that Ayurveda has come across over the years of struggle and all. But now, with all the backed evidence, for multiple health conditions, even rheumatoid arthritis, there has been a lot of studies through Ayurveda. There has been research papers on that. But not only that, this is one of the topics, but same for the hypnotherapy with, when some people who come with the credible information and having researched backed evidence.
Yes.
It's evidence-based science. It is not something out of the air that is being,
Yes.
anyone is making up. Like Ayurveda was considered years back as a placebo, but, of course, nobody will want anything which is working to work, because it will impact a lot of other things. So I think over the period of time, we have become more aware of how we have to project Ayurveda and how we have to bring it forward. And, it's all evidence. I have seen thousands of patients and clients, and seeing the results over the years and seeing how it works. It is not only the science, it is definitely a strong backed belief system. Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, and I love how there's so many different things out there like what we're working on, and they all really are just different paths to the same goal. And the goal is wellness. It's wholeness. It's to get you back aligned with your perfect self and your higher self, and to just feel fully well and healthy in every way, body, mind, and spirit. So that's really what all these different modalities go towards.
Yes. And ArujAyur, as my tagline, is your gateway to wellness.
Yes,
So
that's what it is.
Again, the wellness is not the massages. Wellness is the holistic wellness. It's your mind, body, and spirit that we take care of. And yours is as well, you're also having your own company as well.
Yes. So the Resolute Mind, the Resolute Mind is a hypnosis company where I teach self-hypnosis, which is a very unique kind of self-hypnosis, which is mind, body, spirit approach, called Seventh Path. And I also do one-on-one hypnotherapy sessions for specific issues that people come to me with, and it's a process where we work for 5 sessions typically over 5 weeks, once a week, and then we slowly clear different issues with techniques such as age regression, forgiveness work, guilt work, parts work. So there's these different modalities inside of hypnosis, the different techniques that we can use to help you really clear that emotional blockages and what's holding you back in life.
That's great. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Same in ArujAyur, what we are doing is we are trying to see what your body type is and catering to your diet and lifestyle and your metabolic health guide according to your body type. Not something which is, it can be different for your family members than you, but it is just for you a very unique body type analysis. Where you can understand where you are going wrong, what is the right way ahead, and how you can prevent the health conditions that might be running in your genes for years. Your ancestors, your parents, parental history, we can definitely change that through Ayurveda and nutrition guidelines.
Well, thank you so much for bringing
Thank
me
you,
today
Teresa.
and
Thank
for having this
you.
discussion. I hope our viewers learned a lot today.
Yes, I'm sure. And if you all want to connect us, your links will be shared in the video soon.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.